Hello. I'm going to start setting up the rig on this character. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to make this arm appear over here. Let me go to Windows, Outliner. Now your outliner might appear over here or over here connected. If you don't want it to be connected, say I can be connected here. It's connected up there. That's not a good place for it. Maybe connected over here. That's not a good spot for it either. Let's try right. Come on now. Yeah, I'm not going to get it to connect in a way that's going to be anyway useful for me. See, it's going to cover everything. But if that is the problem, you can come over here and turn off your lock. It's locked right now, and when it's not blue, it's unlocked, and then you can click on it and drag things around. So I'm going to lock that so I don't accidentally snap that anywhere else. There is a group for this, but this piece right here needs to be in that group, and it's got to be named. This is going to be R, capital R underscore for arm. So leave it like that, and I'm going to then middle click on this and drag it up to the R arm group and leave it there. So when I click on the group, it's all selected. Make sure that its pivot point is in the center, which it is. And then I'm going to go ahead and press Control D, and I'm going to type a -1 in Z. Nice one. Now I have this other arm here, and I want to go to rename everything on here. So I'm going to open all this up. You can see there's a lot of stuff on here. All right. And I haven't named the fingers apparently, which I thought I had, but I won't name them in this video because I don't want you guys to be sitting here watching me rename stuff. I showed you how to rename in previous videos. Just going to select all that, and I'm going to go to modify, search and replace names. And I'm going to search for R underscore and replace with L underscore. That's capital R underscore, replace with L underscore, capital L underscore. Click on replace and everything is changed. The only other thing I need to do is come up here to the L arm underscore group 1, and I needed to change that from group 1 to just group, GRP. Alright, now we're ready to get in here and start rigging. Now I would debated whether or not I wanted to actually set up a bunch of controls on this character because I don't necessarily need them. I have the groups, and I'm not going to be animating this character, right? I have groups here. So I have this group, I can select this group, and I can rotate things. I just need to align the group to the joint here. So I debated whether or not I was going to set up controls. If you're going to be animating a character, you definitely need to have controls. I'm not going to animate this character. I'm going to only be posing him. And if you're going to be giving your character to another person to animate or pose, you definitely need to have controls because they need to understand how to operate your character. And the controls will make that a lot easier for them. There's various ways of setting up controls, and we're going to go through a bunch of them, how to design controls. Now, controls are made with Nurbs curves. Typically, Nurbs curves are non-uniform rational B-splines. Don't worry about that. It's just what Nurbs stands for. They are something that does not show in the final imaging of your character. So if I were to finalize the imagery here, go into, say, here, and we don't want Arnold, we want software. Hopefully this does not crash my computer. If it does, then this is what the final image would look like for this particular character. Not so good. Not real good, right? Minimize this, bring him in here, and then render this again. He's all chunky and pixelated. This is Maya's innate renderer. We have another one called Arnold renderer, which we will talk about later, which is going to be a much nicer render. But either way, the Nurbs will not show up. Let me close this here. By the way, Maya 2019 has been released. If you want to switch over to that, I have not switched over to Maya 2019. I'm still using Maya 2018 here. I have downloaded it on one of my other computers and I have looked at it, but other than that, I haven't used it for anything. So what we need to do is create these Nurbs. Let's go up here to create, and the first thing I'm going to do is create which is like a gyro control, which is going to be the hardest control to create. So if we come down here to Nurbs primitives, we can create a circle. We want to make sure that interactive creation is turned off for this process. We'll click on the circle, and now we have a circle up here in the head. It's selected. It's right there. There it is. I'm going to come over here and just slide this down. And I'm going to go, oh, I don't have my panels. That's right. Okay, I'm going to hold, normally you'll have your panels up here, and I'm going to hold a space bar and get to these. These is the view, shading, lighting, show, render, and panels will be visible up here. I don't know why mine are not there. I'm going to have to switch over to Maya 2019 so I can have those appear again. But I'm going to go to show and I'm going to turn off polygons. And that will leave me just my curve here. And to create a gyro, I'm going to press G to create a, undo that. I don't know what happened there. I'm going to go up to create and just go to Nurbs for Nurbs and create another circle. Or press Control D to duplicate this circle. So either way, I can press G to recreate another circle. I have these 3 circles here. I'm going to select this one here, circle number 2, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees in X. And then I'm going to select circle number 3, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees in Z. And now we have what is a gyroscopic looking control. Now this is the tricky part. This is the part where we have to connect all these because each one of these is separate. And if I want to use this as one control, I can't do that, right? Because I'm only going to be able to select one curve at a time. They're not all going to rotate the same. If I try to rotate them, they're going to cause problems, right? So I want them all to rotate at the same time. Let me scoot this up, come down here so I get a double-headed arrow on the bottom of my outliner, and I'm going to click and drag that up so it's out of the way of my mel command line. Then I'm going to come up to, I don't have my, seriously? I don't know if I can do this without, I don't know how to get to my shape nodes in here. Let me try it through the general editors, the hypergraph, not that one, the hypergraph connections. We'll close this. Let's select all these first off. We'll go to Modify, Freeze Transformations, and we'll go to Edit, Delete by Type, History, Shift-Alt-D. Make sure that's taken care of with all 3 of these selected. Go into Windows, General Editors, Hypergraph Connections. We'll try to do it through here. We have these shape nodes, and that's what we need to get to. I'm going to select shape number 2, and I'm going to hold Control and I'm going to hold Shift actually, and select shape number 3 by clicking on it. And then I'm going to select, by holding Shift, I'm going to click on Nurbs Circle 1. That way these 2 right here are going to go to this one right here. And over here in my mel command, I'm going to type in parent, P-A-R-E-N-T, space dash S for shape, space dash S for shape, and then space dash R for relative. And it's going to connect these shapes to the circle. I'm going to press enter, and there we go. We have the shapes connected to the circle. If I click on these, it should click on all of them. Right. So no matter which one of these curves I select, it's going to select all 3. I don't need these transform nodes right here. I'm going to delete them, so get rid of them. And everything should still work fine. This will act as one object. I can rotate it. I can scale it, all that stuff. For some reason, I got a rotation node here. Let's undo that. All right, so there's my gyroscopic control. I'm going to be able to use that on my character. So again, I'm going to hold spacebar. I'm going to go to show, and I'm going to turn on polygons here. Normally, you have the ability to show shapes in here inside the outliner. You should have like a little show and other file options up here on the top. For whatever reason, my Maya is not working, and I might just scrap this video and use Maya 2019 to do this. If not, we'll muddle our way through, and then in the next video I will definitely be using 2019 because I can't use my 2018 for whatever reason. Frustrations. Where's my gyroscope at? Oh, it's going to stay in his head. It's going to be centered on the scene. That's fine for right now. I might want to duplicate that, though. So let's go ahead and we'll duplicate it. It's in there, right? I don't know. There it is. There it is. It's too big. I know I'm going to want to make it smaller, so I'm just going to scale it down to like 0.5 to start off with. And I'm going to press Control D. I'm going to go to Modify, Freeze Transformations. Now I have that additional nerve circle right here. I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it, so click up here in the above your channel box in the upper where the name is, and go to, this is going to be R underscore, we'll just call it ARM underscore CTRL for control. Then I'm going to select, with this select, I'm going to hold shift, I'm going to select the, actually I'm going to invert that maybe. See if I can select this thing here. Good, I got it. So I'm going to select this and then this, and I'm going to go up to, I need to go to rigging. Go to rigging here. So click this menu set option here and go to rigging. It's F3, the button at the top of your keypad, F3. I'm going to go to constrain parent. Open up my option box for parenting. I'm going to not maintain offset. I'm going to click that off. And then I'm going to click on add. And it moved that down to my shoulder right there. So it's too small, and it did rotate everything. I need to actually undo that. Z, go back. I need to group this first. It's been a while since I've done any rigging, so bear with me. So this is going to be bigger. I'm going to make it a 1.5. That should be big enough if I have only that selected. Deselect that and then type in a 1.5 over here. Okay, there we go. Modify, freeze transformations. I want it to be clean. I'm going to press Control G to group it. With the group selected, I'm going to select this and I'm going to hold Control and select the group. And then I'm going to go to Constrain, Parent, Option Box, make sure everything is set the way I want to. I want Maintains Offset off. I want Translate All and Rotate All. You probably want to open this up and reset your settings just in case. And then you can turn Maintain Offset off. And then everything will be the same as I have it. And go Add. And now this, snap to this control over to here. Now this control, when I click on the control, look at that. The control is totally clean. Zeros and ones, that's what we want. And I don't need the parent constraint anymore. I'm going to click on the parent constraint right here in my outliner, and I'm going to delete it. So I'm going to name this group. I'm going to double click on that and name it R underscore arm underscore CTRL underscore GRP for control group. I'm not going to use this group for anything other than parenting it, other than connecting it in a hierarchy for this. Now another thing that I want to do is I'm going to select the control itself. I'm going to right click and go to control vertex right here. And click and drag that over and then press W, and I'm going to move this into place so it's more centered on the arm there. Not that I have to do that because it is offset. If I press Q, click off of this, go right, click object mode. All right, it's still rotating from that center point. See, it's off slightly. So something you need to be aware of. So I don't need to do that. I just did it for visualization of this particular character. So I have that little gyroscope control in there. I'm going to want something for the elbow. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to press Control D to duplicate this, and I'm going to take the size of this down to a 0.35 maybe. Make it a little bit smaller. How come that didn't work? 0.35. 5. There it goes. Okay. Whatever reason it didn't work the first time, that's fine. Make it a little bit smaller. I can stick it onto the elbow here. I don't need to have a control like this for the elbow. The reason I like these gyroscope controls is because we know that the shoulder rotates in all three directions, right? So they kind of make sense for the shoulder. I don't need to use it for the elbow, but I'm going to use it for the elbow in this case, and probably then for the wrist as well, because the wrist is going to be able to rotate in all three directions. So there's that little control. I'm going to group it. So Control G to group it. Select the elbow here. Select the new group. Control click on it in the outliner. Go to constraint. I should have my parent constraint. It's already set up from last time. I'm going to click parent. I'm going to close this. I don't need that. And it snaps it down to here. Right down to here. There you go. I got that little guy right there. It's a little bit small. So I'm going to come into my outliner. I'm going to delete the parent group. Or the parent constraint. I don't need that. I'm going to right click and go to control vertex. I'm going to drag over all of its control vertices and I'm going to scale it a little bit. I don't have to do that. I could have left it the same way it was. I could have scaled it by clicking on the object and going into the curve node or the scale here. Now remember, if you go to modify here and you freeze your transformations, everything's going to go back to zeros and ones. But my group needs to stay with these modifications on it. You can't change this group because if I zero this out, it's going to square the group. It's going to square this control to the scene, so it'll be square right here. Watch. Click and drag down here, type in a 0, enter, and look at that. It went back up here, and it's going to be square with the scene. As you can see, it's squared with the scene. So undo that, leave that there, and we'll name it. This is going to be my R underscore elbow underscore CTRL for control. I like to use capital CTRL. You can use lowercase if you want to. I've seen people do all sorts of different naming conventions for rigging. If you want to do this professionally, this studio is going to have a way for you to handle all of the names. And then we'll name this the group. So this is going to be R underscore elbow underscore CTRL underscore GRP. All right, cool. Now we have those two controls on there. Let's go ahead and make another one. We have these all right up here. And we can go Control D to duplicate it. And I'm going to leave it for the wrist. It's going to be again, we'll make it a 0.35. There it goes. It's right there. Control G to group it. Now I'm going to put that down here on this. So let's make sure this is lined up properly. That's exactly how I want it to be lined up, I think. Well, actually, we'll tap D, and I'll move this up so it rotates from there more. Otherwise, it's fine. So we'll tap D, leave it alone. And now with this selected, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to control click my group over here. And I'm going to go to constrain parent. It's going to move that down to there. There we go. So now we have all the controls for this arm set up. Now we have to do the hand, which is going to be a lot longer process, and I'm not going to get into it just yet. I want to show you the way of changing the color for these. So we tend to color code our controls, left and right. And a lot of times it'll be yellow down the middle. So it'll be left here, left will be blue or red, and then right will be either blue or red. I believe it goes right is blue and left is red. I think that's the kind of the convention, but I don't remember. It doesn't really matter if you're doing it for yourself, as long as you understand the color coding. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to come over here to my attribute editor. Now, if you don't have your attribute editor, it's this icon right here. It's the middle icon right up here. And you can click on that, and if it's not over here, it'll show up. Or you can press Control A. Control A will also bring up your attribute editor. So I'm going to come over here to Object Display and click on Object Display, and I need to go to Drawing Overrides. And I need to enable my overrides. I'm going to click and drag down over here so I can see the bottom here where I have my color. So we're going to make it the blue color. Let's click through. There's the blue color. There we go. We can see that with all of these curves. My shapes are hidden. So we'll have to bring back our Windows General Editors connections, and we'll do it this way here. So we have, each one of these needs to be blue. So this one needs to be blue, and enable overrides. There's the blue. And enable overrides. There's the blue. So there we go. And then we'll do the same thing down here. So we'll click on this one, enable overrides, and we'll do the blue. And we need to go to, I need to load that in here. So I need to clear this out. Is that right? How do I clear this thing out? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've used this. I'll just close it and reopen it. So you can always get around these things. We'll select the other one and turn it on. I need to get the correct part here. Enable overrides and go to the blue. Enable overrides and go to the blue. So you can see how I can change the colors. I'm not going to go through and change all these things for you. You just select colors that are going to be appropriate for you in your project, right? Okay. So there's all that. Let's turn off the wireframe unshaded so we can just see this stuff right here. Press 3 so I can see that, smooth out so it looks good. So there's always an override if you're having problems with something. There's always a way around. There's always a workaround for every little thing that happens inside of Maya. All right, what other kind of controls am I going to want to have here? We just want to do like a simple circle control for maybe the body here. That doesn't need to be a gyro control. So just go to Create, Nurbs Primitives, and go to Circle. I'm going to bring this down here. So we want to, all right, that's where that's going to rotate from. That's probably pretty good. So with that Nurbs circle selected right there, I'm going to press Control G to group it. And now I can align that group, right? So it's group 12. Oh, we name this? This is my wrist. This is my wrist control. Let's name this real quick. So I'm going to delete the parent constraint. I don't need that. This is going to be my R underscore wrist. RIST underscore CTRL. And then this will be my R underscore wrist underscore CTRL underscore GRP control group. And then we have this group here, but I want to get to this guy right here and then hold Control and click on the group 12 and then go to my constraints here. Go constrain parent, right? And then I can delete that parent out. So the same process happens over and over and over again. A lot of repetition in animation. So we're going to name this. This is going to be chest underscore CTRL, and this will be chest underscore CTRL underscore GRP. I need to name all these objects. They're not named, so we need to name these. I didn't go through and name them all. So this is my chest. You see how that works. And this is my abdomen. I think abdomen has, does it have an E on the end of it? I don't remember. This is my waist. Is that how you spell waste? English is too difficult. We need to make English easier. We need to spell things phonetically. That's the head. This is the head group, so we can name this head group. And I'm not going to go through and name all this stuff right now. I'll name it later, but I wanted to show you, the name. So this is this doesn't need to be in here. I'm going to drag this up to there. And what is going on here? And middle click and drag this up onto the head group. Release it there in the head group. And now everything's in the head group. When I click on that, there it goes. This right here needs to be bigger. I'm going to select its control vertices and then drag that out. So I can more easily select that. It's not hiding inside of his body. I can more easily select it there. We'll have to have a chest group as well, so just be aware of that. Not a chest control group, but a chest group for the geometry here. It's going to consist of these shoulder pieces, right? These pipes. So yeah, I don't know that I'm going to use any other types of controls. I will show you how to create a square control. Maybe we'll use a square control for the head. That'll be kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is create a cube. I'm just going to move this over. I don't need to worry about where it's located. I can scale it bigger if I need this thing to be bigger. But then I'm going to come into Create, and I'm going to go to Curve Tools, CV Curve Tool. Over here, it gets loaded into, this is the CV Creation Curve Tool. So if I click, I can create a curve. Press Enter, there's my curve. I'm going to delete that. I don't need a curve. I clicked a bunch of times to make that curve. Okay, so I'm going to double click here. And I want linear. So I'm going to up my curve options, and I want linear. I want to make sure I'm on linear, and then I want to close this. And then I'm going to hold the V key, V as in Victor, and I'm going to click and drag and snap this thing. Whoop. Snap this all over this cube. You can overlap the curves. It doesn't matter if you go over the curve. It's not going to change anything. The system is going to understand that you don't mean to have a curve on top of a curve. I'm really having trouble snapping today. There you go. And we should have all of them done. Press Enter. I'm going to click on the cube and then delete it. And there you go. Look, I have a little box curve right here. And it's going to be contiguous. I'm not going to have to worry about doing anything to keep it as one piece. It's already one piece. So with my head control, right, I can just parent it to my head control. Now I don't, with my head group, that is, I want my head group to be rotating from down here more, right? In case he looks forward or whatever, it'll be rotated from down there. So that's where I'm going to want this to be controlled from. So tap D. This right here, I'm going to duplicate it, Control D, and then I will Control G to group it, right? This group is not centered. I'm going to modify center pivot. There you go. Constrain parent. There you go. Select this, go to the control vertices. There you go. We can have that now there. So that can be our selector there for that. For the head. So if I want to rotate the head around, I can do that with that. So this is creating controls. This is something that you're going to do if you're going to be getting into rigging and something that you might enjoy. Let's see here, GRP, and then we'll just this head control down here. CTRL. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions down below. I can, walk you through some fun stuff with the Maya. The other control I want to do, actually one more control before we get out of here. Do this. I'm not going to need to worry about anything else. I'm not going to set up something called IK. I'm not going to be animating this, so I don't need IK. If you are curious about IK, it's called inverse kinematics. It's short for inverse kinematics. Something you'll be doing a lot if you want to become a rigger. It's good. It's really awesome. But I'm not going to animate this character, so I don't need to have IK on here. Let's create a control curve out of text. I'm going to click on my text icon right here on my shelf. Hopefully I don't lose everything. There it goes. It creates text. So I'm going to go into type 1 right over here, and I'm just going to type in a J. If it lets me. It's not letting me for whatever reason. I do want my geometry. See, for whatever reason, it's not letting me type. Okay, maybe a K, J. There we go, J. That's fine. Now create curves from type. Click on that. Okay. Object mode. Delete that out, and now I have a J here. I can use this as a control for, I'm going to rotate it around, for my jaw. All right, so it's going to be 180. I'm going to modify freeze transformations, although probably premature because I do want to shrink it down. But this can be my jaw control. Set it out here. So I can select this, have the pivot point for this back here, and then I can do stuff with this jaw. Cool. So go to modify freeze transformations, and then tap D and we'll move its pivot point. Hold B, we'll snap it over to here, and then I'll snap it up to here. So it's centered right on this. So now when I select this, I can rotate the jaw from that position, right? All right. So again, like I said, let me know if you have any questions. Go ahead and click the like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Appreciate it.